Your hair was
Okay.
like straight and then a 90-degree turn down.
Yeah, absolutely. That was deliberate.
People go to get perms for their hair to look like this.
I'd love to go to Europe with you one day. You'd look like a giant.
Is that why you got so good at punting, so you didn't have to chase anybody?
Yeah, they just want to play dress ups, go out there and play
Just
hide and seek.
just go out there and play around in the woods in their camo. I feel like a lot of times you're like, I want a break, and then this is the break you get, and you just hate it. Like me coming back's a thing. Like I will end up being back before the season's over. Welcome to Mullets on the Mic, powered by AgAmerica Media. I'm Tate Ratledge with Brett Thorson. Today we'll recap Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn. I'll talk about my injury a little bit. We'll answer some of your Mullet Mailbag questions. I'm going to hit Brett with a pretty good Bulldog Blind Draft. New Mullets on the Mic episodes drop weekly on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcasts. Let's jump into it. All right, Brett, let's jump into Hair of the Dog. Obviously been gone a while, so we can start off talking about the Kentucky game.
Obviously, a heck of an environment. They showed out there at a night game, so it was definitely a good test early on the road. The most I've ever punted in a game, actually. So it was definitely a hell of a game. Unfortunately, lost you about halfway through, as the dog fan knows.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, kind of talking about their stadium environment, they did a really good job with their music. I thought their music throughout the game to get their fans going was really engaging. Because I remember we were on the sideline and we were all kind of looking at each other just like, this is pretty good. The music they were playing, their fans got loud for a stadium that doesn't hold that many people. They had that place rocking, in my opinion.
They did. As far as numbers to noise goes, that's probably as loud as I've seen a stadium of that.
And Kentucky's a good team too. I think they have a really good defense. Their front seven is really talented, really good, really physical, and their offense showed up and played well. And then they went on to beat Ole Miss.
They did. Coach Smart has always said that. I feel like every time we play Kentucky, Coach Smart all week is about how physical they are at the line.
I've played them 3 years now, and I'd say that's probably one of the more physical games we play each year in and out. And I think it's more consistent. Like usually when we play them, they're always a really physical team.
They did show out. I remember when that first third down we didn't complete running out in the stadium, how loud that was, actually running out for a punt. I was like, crap.
Does crowd noise affect you at all?
Thankfully, I guess not too many people care about the punter running out there. So they usually celebrate the third down, but in the next 40 seconds, they've kind of quietened down a little bit because they kind of peek if that ball hits the ground or if there's a tackle to make the chain stay still. So, yeah, it's not – it's kind of good, but usually it's pretty tunnel vision. I'm watching the snapper and waiting for the ball to come back, and now I just got to catch it. So I try you can't tune out. You're in a bit of tunnel vision. What about you? With getting the cadence or whatever it is, the calls, stuff like that. How does that go in and away game?
I think last year when we played Tennessee was the hardest it's ever been to hear a snap count. That play after they went how many yards to the house, first play of the game, we went out there, and I remember I got our offensive line together. I was like, if you can't hear, look at the ball. Said's got to be the one that hears. We don't have to hear. We just can't think we heard something and jump. So I think if you watch the film, our offensive line's all just staring at the ball first play of the game, and then it ended up quieting down a little bit. But it's always early in the game in the first third down that are really loud. But on fourth, I feel like if you're out there, we just got stopped, and we're usually running off the field. And that's the last thing I'm thinking about is how loud the crowd is out there. But usually Carson's got a good clap, so it pierces sound pretty well.
Gunner Stockton's clap has always impressed me. I'll give him that.
You could put us in front of a jet taking off, and I think we can still hear Gunner's clap.
Yeah, I don't know how his hands don't get sore. I try and mimic.
Carson says their hands get sore. Carson's during games, towards the end, those claps don't feel good.
Yeah, good. Well, they do it back to back, especially when they're trying to get someone to jump offside. They're going at it a few times in that. I was like, that can't necessarily be the best to do for.
If we play 70 snaps and you have to clap 70 times, and your purpose is for people to hear you, I could see that getting pretty tiring. But yeah, unfortunate event getting hurt in the Kentucky game.
Yeah. Did you know straight away? What happened?
It was on a combo block. Some guy came off the edge, went to make the tackle, and kind of got leg whipped around and caught me with his hip. Did not feel good. You kind of knew immediately what was going on. Not
Yeah.
like the severity of it that I ended up having to have surgery or whatever, but I knew like, okay, like this doesn't feel right. But yeah, it wasn't fun. And then I was trying to get off the field, and everybody on the sidelines just pointed at me to go down, so I go down. And I remember they came out on the field. I was like, "Get me off the field! Get me off the field! Get me off the field!"
Well, we saw it we all saw you get up and kind of try and
Yeah.
hop off, and then I can't remember who I was standing next to, but they looked at me and they're like, "That's one tough son of a bitch." I was like,
Oh,
but yeah, obviously everyone was telling you to get down. Do you think you would have made it to the sideline?
I made it off the field with my list, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, being hurt sucks. Like all you want to do is play. Like I feel like a lot of times you're like, I want a break, and then this is the break you get, and you just hate it. Like long season, like you got to practice. You're like, oh, I just want one day off. Like just give me one day, and then your day off turned out to be being hurt, and it sucks. But kind of like the mental aspect of it is hard, just not being around everybody all the time. Like I go to meetings and stuff, and not being able to be out at practice, and then kind of sucks. But after having surgery on my list, Frank, my sophomore year, this is nothing. I mean, it's
I was gonna say it's your second kind of longer term injury. Obviously, the first one was a long time, but do you think that helped you to get to with this one, knowing how to go about it, and knowing what to expect when you go into treatment and kind of just trying to be around the boys still?
It kind of showed me what not to do, because when I got hurt the first time, I kind of isolated myself and kind of just got away from everybody. And that was probably the worst thing I could have done. So now I'm staying involved, staying in meetings, talking to the guys, going up there and attacking rehab.
Yeah.
Because there is, me coming back's a thing. I will end up being back before the season's over. So just having that thought in the back of my head that I'm still able to is a big thing, and just a positive thing in my head to keep me going to rehab every day and attacking it every day.
Oh, I was going to say, we then have a few other games, obviously.
Then we played Alabama the next week, had our bye week. Then we went over to Tuscaloosa. That was a fun environment to be in.
Yeah, the fans showed out there as well.
That was a really good game. Of course, didn't start off how we wanted to. Started off slow, but I personally was just really proud of our team and how they fought back. Just to see that, I think, gives you a lot of hope and a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of trust in a team, just a lot of trust in your guys, just being down that many and fighting back in the second half, and ended up taking the lead. But I think seeing that and the way we fought was really cool to see.
Yeah, I'd say definitely optimistic as well to kind of, it would have been very easy for anyone to just say, well, it's 28-0. We're on the road. This place is going nuts.
Just lay down. Yeah.
Next week, whatever. And kind of we could have got walked. We could have just let it go. It could have been 50-10. But to see the boys offense every time we got the ball back was just let's go. This time, one by one. Obviously, to peg it back to get a win. So to me, that's good optimism for the future to know that we're not going to roll down at any point. Hopefully we won't ever get to a situation like that again.
Yeah, hopefully not. But if we get into a tough situation on the road, we know how we'll react.
Yeah. It was good to see a few boys as well, just step up big.
It's never fun to lose, but you learn a lot from losses.
Yeah. It hurts. That's the thing. It's such mixed emotions. I know Sunday I was just
I just couldn't stop thinking about it. But I'm really proud of the guys and how they fought back. Hey, I hated not being out there. That was a hard one to have to sit out.
Do you find that the hardest part is game day watching, not being able to influence the way you can influence
that,
a game of football?
And at practice, when I know if we're not having a great practice up front, just knowing I can't be out there trying to help the guys out and stuff like that. But that was one of the games I've been looking forward to, and not being able to play in that one hurt. But I mean, not being able to play in the Auburn game hurt. I mean, all of it. I mean, it just sucks. It just sucks not being able to play out there.
You've definitely been on the sidelines. Obviously, that's something I've noticed. Been in good support. Unfortunately, your ugly head keeps showing up on TV.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
On the sidelines as well. Getting a little bit of me time. I saw a funny thing on Instagram, actually, something about, I don't know, was it caveman or something like that?
No, the one that I saw that blew up was like it was just a picture of me on the sideline. It was like the European mind can't comprehend this man.
That's the one. That's the one. And because it had all your like stats as well, like
Yeah,
6'6", like
yeah.
300.
And it was actually kind of crazy because like on Twitter there were actually like people from like overseas that like couldn't comprehend how big I was. Like somebody 320, he's fat and like overweight, and somebody was under is like, yeah, I don't think you understand like what people this size do here. Like,
Yeah, I think especially for me coming from Australia, we don't really have people that size doing what you guys do. But then the even more surprising fact is how well you guys do it and how athletic a lot of you guys are. Like obviously you get put into a pretty like stereotypical like size and shape. But watching guy like Jared Wilson, watching
yeah,
him run
Jared
is
can move, can't he?
crazy. Yeah, like Ernest Green, how quick his feet are, stuff like that, and you're just like, oh
The
wait, no, these
craziest
guys are.
one to me was like when I really realized people that size doing stuff like that was when JD against UAB chased the quarterback down out of the pocket and caught up to him. Like he was a good 10 yards behind him, and ended up catching up to him and have it getting a sack. That was funny.
I don't even want to think about what it'd be like to stand in front of that and be hit by that much kind of weight moving at that speed. Yeah, nah, it's a special sort of athlete. I know, like, I'd love to go to Europe with you one day. You'd look like a giant in amongst like all those you see like the parties and stuff. But everyone's kind of my height. They're all like anywhere from 5'8" to
Yeah.
6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". Like I feel taller when I go back home in Australia, and I kind of forget that I'm not like the
That's how
shortest.
I
Like
am.
I'm not
Like I
tall
leave
by
the
any
building
means,
and
but
I go like run errands or something. I'm massive. And like I'm just massive compared to everybody. And then I go back in the building and there's just 20 other people that are my size.
yeah, you just kind of blend in. Like you forget how big everyone else is, and also like
That's
yourself,
what
and
my
you're like,
mom
oh
says. She's
wait,
like, I see you out there on the field and like everybody else is your size. So I just forget how big you are. And then after the game, you come give me a hug and I realize you're massive.
yeah. And then I'm reminded that's like with Big Jar, obviously, like seeing photos of him next to like 7 foot,
He's
seven
huge.
foot, six people, and making them look small. That's
The kid
a
is massive.
that's a big human being.
Like massive. Like I've never had to look up to somebody until
Which
I met him. Like I talked to him like this.
obviously, if you guys have got a few different um, promotions, I guess. Drew Bobo being one on the weekend.
Man,
What was it
I
like
love
seeing one of
seeing
your
Bobo out there.
good friends?
Just seeing how hard he works at day in and day out, just seeing the effort he puts in every day at practice, being able to see him out there on the field just made me so happy. Like I love seeing that. And he went out there and
Yeah,
he played his ass off. I mean, he played extremely hard. He wasn't perfect, which nobody was, but for a first start in a big game, he got the job done.
for sure, for sure. And like awesome for him as well. Like Auburn was technically like where he went to high school. So I
Where he was
think he had a
committed.
bunch of buddies out there.
He was committed
Yeah,
there. Yeah, that one
he
meant a
was,
lot
he
to
was
him. You could see it on his face. I
yeah.
was trying to
So,
calm
and
him
even
down
seeing
before the game.
seeing him after with his dad as well was just sick. Like I think we saw it with Jackson and Coach Muschamp last year, and you see it in that like kind of moments with close people. It's kind of special, and you're like, oh wow, like imagine what that
No,
means
for
to
sure.
them.
I love Coach Bobo. I think Coach Bobo has
Yeah,
built a great relationship with a lot of people on our team. And I think he does a really good job with that. And I love Coach Bobo as a coach and as a person. I think he does a great job.
I think it's exciting, like watching the team now that we're
Mm,
5 games in. We're 5 games in, right?
yeah, I think.
Just knowing that, obviously, yeah, we still can improve a lot.
Yeah, there's definitely a
What we
lot of
can
room for
have,
improvement. And I think we're slowly working on that each week of just getting better each week. That's what he preaches is getting better each
yeah,
week. And I think we're on the rise with that. And I think our offense is of course, we haven't played like we wanted to up to our standard this year as an offense, but I think that's on the rise, and I think it's going to be fixed. All right, we're going to jump into Mullet Mailbag. Thank you all for DMing us these questions, and remember to DM us on Instagram to at Mullets on the Mic podcast to ask us these questions, and we'll answer them each week.
yeah. I'll definitely start with the first one. So thanks to Hannah for sending it in through the Insta DMs. She has asked, is Tate's mullet naturally curly, or does he have a perm?
It's natural. People pay for these curls. Funny story is I didn't know I had curly hair until I grew my hair out. Like I had no clue my hair was curly until I grew it out. But yeah, it's all natural.
We've obviously talked about shampoo and conditioning, but when you go to the salon, do you go to a salon? Where do you go to get the salad chopped?
No, I go to Joe the barber. Joe the barber.
What are you asking for? Like, what's
I
the
get the sides faded, get a little bit off the top, kind of just blend it all together, and then when the back gets too long, like when it starts like reaching like over here, I'm like, okay, I got to get that cut a little bit. Tell them to trim up the back a little bit.
get that trimmed up?
What barber do you go to?
Best looking barber in Athens, actually. He cuts out of my bathroom, and he's myself. So just look in the mirror and hope I don't screw it up.
Screwed it up a few
I
times.
can't see the back. Never. My theory is if I do it, I can't be mad at myself. Like, I expect it to be bad. So when it is bad, I'm not mad. I'm like, oh, yeah, what do you expect? You cut it, you idiot.
I remember there was one time you came in and you could tell you like attempted to like fade this, and it was just a line. Your hair was like straight and then a 90-degree turn down.
Yeah, absolutely. That was deliberate. But everyone obviously just thought it was meant to be a fade. I just did the two lengths. I did like a 0 and a 1. When you do the 0, I do like a line here. I used to do it I did it in COVID when I didn't really know how to fade. I didn't have the pieces on hair clippers to fade. I only had like a 0, a 1, and a 2.
You showed up with that.
Now I actually have
I think my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what is this guy doing?
Well, everyone's like, yo, fire your barber. They can't fade. I was like, well, no, I didn't want to fade it.
I can't fire my barber. It was
just meant to be a straight line.
Barber.
Yeah, I was like, no.
I mean, it saves money.
It does. It's actually, the clippers maybe cost me $20. But now the little trick I'm doing now is I'm not messing around with number 0. I'm leaving a half guard on. So that way, like, the mess up of the fade doesn't look too bad. So
it's improved. It is improved.
And it grows.
I will say that.
Yeah. The only problem, the worst part is trying to get like the back the same. Like trying to like that bit there. Trying to get that bit is the tough bit because you can't see it. So you just hope it's like a straight line, like a straight kind of 90-degree. And then I might I'll screw it up. So I have to like edging back. And eventually it's going to turn into like a mohawk thinness.
If you showed up with a mohawk.
So I just got to be careful. I'm glad we clarify that you don't have a perm.
Yeah, no perm. All natural. Like I said, people pay for these curls.
I guess so.
I mean, people do. People go to get perms for their hair to look like this. This is natural, free. But Jackson Mayer actually sent us a DM on Instagram, and his question is, if Brett were to play a non-specialist position, what would it be?
That's a tough one because I didn't grow up playing the game, so it's not like I played a few positions in high school. So ideally I'd want to play quarterback, but it's usually just process of elimination when I get asked this because I'm not quick enough to be a wide receiver. I'm not strong enough to be a tight end.
Okay, but if you were those things.
Yeah, if I could magically turn into an athlete one day. Wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball. And then I like linebackers.
I think you can play linebacker right now. You've kind of got the build for it.
I have the right measurements, but I don't think I have the right athleticism.
Is that why you got so good at punting so you didn't have to chase anybody?
Yeah, that's the best part about punting. If you do your job, you don't have to run. All right. Our next one comes from Bo Watkins, and he's asked, Tate, how are you feeling mentally after the injury?
I had a little bit of a tough time right after the injury. I feel like that's normal, just kind of going through it. But wanting to be out there and kind of just like the very beginning of this and surgery and everything. So, of course, I was a little bit down, but now I'm fine. I'm all good now. And I'm ready to get this thing rolling. Brett, genuine question, what injuries have you had since you've been here? Have you had any, anything serious?
When I was 16, I did my ACL. So
you did?
12 months. Yeah, playing football, AFL. I got thrown into a practice match that I wasn't meant to be playing in. The coach, we're good family friends with, and a few guys were running late to the practice match. And he's like, hey, Brett, jump in until the guy gets here. And the first time I ran up near the football, tore my ACL. So
good Lord, I did not know that.
Another question we've got from Junkyard Eugene via the DMs on Instagram also is, do either of us have a I crap my pants story? Thankfully, there's a strict rule to stay off the punter at practice. I probably have one that I'm like, oh shit. I wouldn't say it was scary. It was like an oh shit. I think I've talked about it before, but it was practice 1 or 2 with Lad running back past me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he hit me with a double move, but I hadn't responded to his first move, so actually like doubled back into me. It looked like I read it. That was like a oh shit. Like I'm around some serious like athletes.
Trying to
Moment,
think.
not necessarily I shit my pants. What about
Trying
you?
to think what mine would be. Probably when I gave up my first sack. I remember we were playing Kent State. We had a 4-man slide on, and I posted down. When I posted down, like you're supposed to stay square, well, I posted down and just opened straight up. So there's like a direct line to the quarterback. And I didn't realize it at the time that I had done it, and I was getting long arm. I was sitting there trying to chop a long arm. He was just running in a straight line at Stetson. Yeah, that was bad. I remember I was just sitting there like, holy shit, did I really just do that?
When does that feeling kick in? Once you lose him in your vision, or just once you know like you're in the wrong spot?
Like there's like usually moments like where you can tell you're beat.
Yeah,
And that's usually when it happens. And you just fight your ass off to recover. But there's like like pass pro, there's like a definite oh shit moment in pass pro.
yeah.
But you can always like you can recover.
Is that because you know your quarterback's sitting in there? Like your
Yeah.
quarterback's in there.
Like,
Like it's not
like right now, like especially now, I have a really good idea of where Carson is in the pocket.
Yeah.
So I kind of know like my angles and stuff, like where I need to position myself and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just getting to a spot and trying to hold it.
That does actually remind me. I do have an oh shit moment. I could talk about it now because like looking back on it, it's not funny, but it's funny. But can you remember one of our first ever scrimmages? Mind you, like before I got to these practices in scrimmage, I'd never been on a football field. Like I'd never played a game of football. I'd never practiced football. So come the spring, all we'd done is kind of like summer charting, winter charting at this point. So we get into it and we install our pooch punt. Obviously, gunners run down. I hopefully give them a good enough ball that they can down close to the 1 yard line. And I've gone out there. It's the first week we've had pooch in there. And I've run out there and they've moved the ball up. Obviously, me just having no context on the field of like how long a field is, like where I'm standing on the field, what sort of room I have to work with. It's been pooch, which is meant to be that end over end punt as opposed to a spiral. And my first punt wasn't that good. Obviously, I'm there like, oh, I want to hit a good spiral. I want to try and prove why I'm here. And I looked at the wrong person. I looked at the wrong person for the signal. And the signal I got wasn't pooch. I was meant to look at someone else who had the pooch signal. And obviously, ball's come back. I've kicked it, and I got a hold of it. And I see it take off, and I'm like, good. Like, hit a ball. Yes. Obviously, I've kind of like watched it go. And then about 4 seconds later, I've watched it hit the ground. And it's almost in the hedges. And as soon as like it hit the ground, I was like, oh, shit. Obviously, then the microphone. You have
the microphone never fail.
You're like, oh shit, and then the rest is
so you had a push
history.
And you didn't realize it and you just booted it.
I hit it about 10 yards deep. I spiraled it about 10 yards deep, and I still get shit for it this day. It hasn't been forgotten. It was 2.5 years ago
in high school. The worst punt, this was in a game, I ever had was we were backed up, so I was kicking out of the end zone. I remember I get the snap, I catch it, look up, and I don't think I had like 3 people just full speed at me, like didn't get touched. So of course I rush it, and I kid you not, I think this ball got 7 seconds hang time. Boom, straight up in the air. It hit about 15 yards downfield, straight back.
Bounce back.
and it hit somebody at like the 7.
Where was the ball snapped from? Did it go past
like the 2?
5-yard punt? Do you video your high school games? Is there any way we can get footage for next week?
I don't have that video. I have my good ones. I had a 40-yard net average in high school, I think. I had like 3 balls returned.
That's solid. That's actually good. How many times did you punt?
I don't remember.
No touchdowns? You're not a member of the touchdown club?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. Remember Cade?
Cade Brock.
Yeah, we're on defense, and Cade slants through. He was our nose guard, slants through, doesn't get touched, and sticks their running back. Ball pops straight up in the air, lands right in front of me. I pick it up, run it 25 yards, touchdown. So all my credit for my touchdown to Cade. Shout out to Cade. And then Cade actually, after that happened, got a personal foul for doing a cartwheel running off the field.
There's 2 things I need videos of. Doing a cartwheel.
I remember our head coach right over there, was about to get mad at him, just couldn't. It was just too funny. Like, you couldn't. I love Cade. I miss him being around.
Nah, he locker room guy. Huge locker room guy.
Huge locker room guy.
That's good. He still takes all the boys hunting and fishing, obviously. So he
actually just texted me about that not too long ago, about going hunting this weekend.
I love him, but holy shit, does he ever work? Like, I swear he's fishing and hunting every day. Every day someone is like, oh yeah, Cade's taking me hunting tonight. I'm like, he took this person yesterday. Like, doesn't he have a job? He does have a job. I know he has a job, but crap. Like,
he was just in Canada.
Go to it. Yeah, I mean, probably hunting.
Yeah, he's videoing somebody's moose hunt. Yeah, I love Cade. Cade's played his cards right. Cade's done a good job.
He's done a very good job. All the boys love it. They
everybody
appreciate getting out there, and especially the boys that have never been hunting. You see the videos; they're cool videos. Like how excited they get when they have their first kill,
so
their first deer, whatever.
We went with Kendall Milton, and that's the most excited Kendall I've ever seen. Kendall was after he killed his first deer. I mean, the smile on his face was just golden.
He had a good day that day, didn't he?
Yeah, he killed like 5. We're on a conservation lease though, so it's legal.
Someone was telling me they had to tell him, they're like, look, Kendall, this almost never happens. Like, this isn't meant to happen. Like, you're not meant to get 5.
It never works out like that.
4.
It never works out like that.
I've never seen, I live with Dan Jackson and Gunnar Stockton. I never see them bring home one thing. Not once. Their truck is crispy clean. There's nothing in the back. There's nothing in the freezer. The only meat that made our freezer was Dan's brother.
That's why they call it hunting, not killing.
I tell them they like dress ups. They just want to play.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah, they just want to play dress ups. Go out there and play hide and seek.
Go out there and play around in the woods in their camo. Moving on to the Bulldog Blind Draft. It's my turn to give you the draft. For those of y'all that don't know, the Bulldog Blind Draft is I'm going to give Brett five. So the topic this week is trios, like best trios. So I'm gonna give him 5 trios, and he's got to, without knowing what's next, rank them 1 through 5. So
are the trio now? Question: are the trios like people? Are the trios food? Are the trios like anything?
They're anything. There's no food.
Okay.
There's no food.
All right.
So we'll start it off with the first trio being Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That was a good movie when I was a kid.
That was a good movie.
I feel very differently about them now. So
yeah, they're kind of annoying now, aren't they?
Yeah, I didn't realize how like auto-tuned, but then stupid me, like it's chipmunks. Of course they don't like have voices. Like, can I put them at 4?
All right. Your next trio is Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman.
I like that. Coach Muschamp likes Michael Jordan a lot. I want to say 2. I don't know. You definitely have to have something better in there that I like. There's no way you've just thrown out. So I'm going to go number 2. I want to leave number 1 open. But they're awesome. That documentary on Netflix was sick.
Yeah, it was a sick documentary. They did a good job on that. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward.
Cool gang. The boys.
For sure. Cool guys.
Number 3.
3?
I'm debating putting them at 1, but they're cool. They're cool. As cool as it gets.
I think that's just like a timeless trio. Like they're never going to get old. You know what I'm saying?
3.
3?
You're trying to bait me into moving them up. Number 3.
No, I'm actually not.
Okay. Number 3.
We're going to go Miami Heat, LeBron,
Number 1.
D-Wade, and Bosh.
Yeah, I'll take number 1 just because of the location, not necessarily though. So I'd already said 1 when you said Miami. I didn't even hear the rest. So
that's crazy. Okay, and your last one is Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey.
Yes, 5. Oh, cool crew though, but 5.
5. You happy with how that turned out?
I'm not angry, but it's actually kind of. You'd maybe shuffle 1 or 2, but everyone is within 1 of where I would put them if I was looking at all 5 together.
Okay, let's respect.
What about you?
Where am I putting them? I'm putting. Then we're going Alvin and Chipmunks at 5.
Yeah.
Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey at 4. SpongeBob and the Crew at 3. That's where you get controversial. I'm going Jordan, Pippen, Rodman at 1. LeBron, Wade, and Bosh at 2.
That I would. Yeah.
That would
was good. That was well done. That was well done. I was worried.
Oh man, I enjoy doing that.
It is good. I like the way we do it now.
I was gonna ask you, like, I was looking up like weird things like people noticed when they first came to America, and I was gonna like get those, but couldn't come up with 5 of them.
That'd be hard because like that just seemed like the things that are different to me would seem normal to you, so you wouldn't think they're different.
Yeah. So moving on to this week, we got Mississippi State coming up, and of course SEC game. Always look forward to SEC games. They're always competitive. And what's crazy is the how close teams are to actually winning. Like they could lose a game, but it could be a lot. Like you actually watch the film, and it's a lot closer than what the score says. Like I think Mississippi State is a really good team. They always have a good defensive front. I haven't watched their offense much, so I can't say much about that. But they always have a really good defensive front, and that's been that way every year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember going up there 2 years ago, and unfortunately, not a good memory for me against those guys.
Not a good memory for you.
And thanks to me, I made the score a lot closer than it should have been at halftime. But I think it was about 19-12, roughly about at halftime. So I remember that was a tough game. It was a close one, and
it was cold.
Thankfully, it was cold.
It was miserable.
Yeah, that was cold. Cold for us as well, though. I think it was
I couldn't even
imagine.
But I couldn't even imagine. Like your job is like you have to wait. Like if we go on a drive, like we're warm, like we're moving a lot.
Yeah.
Like you're just like waiting to go on for one kick. Like you're just freezing the whole game.
Yeah, that's I think obviously like the more we've done it, obviously have 2 years of games, the more you kind of get ready and know what you need to do to hopefully be ready to go out and punt. So that one was one of my first ever cold games. So I think I stood in front of the heater, which is a mistake because I'd just be in front of the heater. So you kind of like warm up. And the second you step away from the heater,
you're freezing.
Like, you just freeze up and you're like, holy shit. So the next cold game and cold games after, I try to stay away from the heater or just directly in front of the heater. I don't try and get too warm. And then, just keep the hands warm to try and catch the ball, obviously. But not the best memory. Thankfully, lad come out after the half and ran one for a fair way to get us a score early.
One out.
Yeah, go 1 for 1. Going to be a tough game, obviously, back home again. So that'll be good. What's your favorite? Like, do you have a favorite thing about Sanford? Obviously, we had a few away games there. What's your favorite thing to get back to Sanford for?
Just being in front of our fans. I love our fans, especially knowing I only have a handful of opportunities to play in that stadium again. So just try not to take it for granted.
Yeah. Are you trying to, obviously, like, it's hard because come game time, you're so locked in and you're so, like, laser focused on the job at hand. Are you trying to be more cautious and more notable to, like, take it in, try and, like, remember a few things, whether it be a three-quarter time
Yeah, definitely. I think just especially during warm-ups, I feel like that's the big part of taking it in, and like after we score or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good. Obviously, you've got a spot over on our little bench there. Don't bring anyone else. We don't like it too crowded. We get mad when people get there.
I'm going to start coming to sit with y'all.
But that's all right. That'll do for this episode of Mullets on the Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media, which is at Mullets on the Mic podcast, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. So,
go dog.
Go dogs.